Hey guys, thanks for tuning into my channel. For all of my people that have already came and been on my channel, thanks again. For all you people that's new, what's up? Alright, this is coronavirus part 2. Today we have a lot to talk about. I don't know how long this is going to be because your girl is winded, but I'll try to make it as short as possible. So let's dig in. Video, I already explained that I'll be using my girl here. This is my brain on papers because I'm winded and I will get sidetracked, so it helps to keep me on track. So just know that, you know, I like to read little things that I wrote, and I like to give you my input, and I'll take it from there. I also would like to use a lot of my testimonies because your girl was a different person years ago. Your girl was kind of a Debbie Downer. I had spiraled down the drain and fell into a little depression. I had this woe is me attitude. A lot of people never knew that about me. I kept it to myself. A lot of my closest friends probably never knew that about me. I don't know. But I just felt like woe is me. I felt like things always happened to me. Bad things were always happening to me. Everything always happened for everybody else. And, you know, blah, 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 blah. But through all of it, what I really learned is, like I said in my last video, seeking God out in every situation. It put clarity into all of those dumb, stupid things that were happening to me, to know that, girl, they were testimonies for other people. So I went through them. They sucked. It was hard, but I got through them. It made me stronger, and I now can help other people. So I'm cool with it. So in my last video, I basically was talking about how I feel like through coronavirus, God wanted us all to seek Him. He needed our attention. We're not giving it to Him. Let's all be honest. How many of us are in our word every week? Not even I. I'm trying to get better at that. I'm a work in progress, but eventually I will get there. A lot of us are not in our word. A lot of us are not attending church, not even online, which is now really simple. A lot of us, you know, are not even trying to, you know, form a relationship with Him at all. A lot of us are running away from Him. A lot of us claim that we don't believe in Him. So there's just a lot of that going on. And then you have our church bench warmers who they're in church every Sunday. They are in their word all the time. They're preaching to everybody. Your mama, your daddy, your sister, your cousin, your brother, whatever. And you amongst them, and you can't even believe that they got a relationship with God. Like, are you kidding me? So you have a lot of that going on, and I feel like at this time, because of that, it then draws a lot of people away from Him even more. So He sat us down for a little while so that we can put our mind right back on Him. I don't know what you guys were doing during that time, but I did a lot of dwelling on Him. I did a lot of reading at that time. I was more in my devotional than I had ever been consistently. At that time, I spent a lot of time with my daughter, so that was great. You know, we had a lot more one-on-one. I was teaching her, and my God, she can't have the same teacher next year, Lord. Please, she can't have the same teacher next year. But that's what we were doing. You know, we were hanging out, we were teaching, we were learning, and I was learning. Some days it was really cool. So, you know, it's memories that were made, and there were good things that came out of it. So for this video, I want to talk a little bit more in depth about things that I noticed in the sermons and that I listened to in the sermons that touched me and affected me in a way. And I just want to express that to you guys and kind of see how you guys feel and where you guys stand with all of that. So one of the first things that I would like to talk about today is just, you know, a little insert that I wrote about Pastor Michael Todd's video. I wrote that the obstacles we hate the most and try to move away from provide us with the most growth. You know, and I know that that's true. I wrote, we come out much stronger and changed. I did write down an example of this for me was living in Nacogdoches. Y'all. We used to live in this little city in Texas called Nacogdoches. From the few friends that I did make in Nacogdoches, hey y'all, I love y'all. But Nacogdoches, it was challenging for me and my husband. The only one that didn't have too many challenges with it, praise God, was my daughter. She actually went to a great school there. She actually made great friends there. She actually was very involved there. So it was great for her. So I wouldn't change that for anything in the world. And you know what? She actually got a really good education there, because when we moved to our current location, we learned, well, I'm learning about how behind this school actually is compared to her other school. So that was about the only, good thing, positive thing that I saw out of it. But I didn't realize how much of a blessing it was to our lives until we moved from there. When we finally moved, oh my gosh, well, let me rewind. When we lived in Nacogdoches, we hated it. Hated it. I mean, I tried to make the best out of it, and my husband did as well, but it just was awful on crack. Like, I mean, it was a place where there was nothing to do. There was nowhere to really go. The closest big city to us was Shreveport, Shreveport, Louisiana. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with Shreveport, but Shreveport is not even a real big city. The next big city, that's an actual big city that was close to us, was Dallas, and that was 3 hours away. So we just felt like we were in the middle of nowhere. On top of that, I experienced so much racism there, and my husband did as well. It's the first time my husband had ever got fired. Like, that never happened before. Typically, they would say he was a good worker. So that was new for us. It's the first place that I learned, that people do not like to see you come up because of the color of your skin. I learned that. It is a place where I was one of the first Black employees in my unit. That was new. And that was in 2016, so that was new. It was just so many different things on so many different levels. You saw so many Confederate flags. Just on people's bandanas, on their cars, sometimes in their front yards, also on their vehicles as they're driving by. I never thought in a million years I would live in a place where I felt like I was stuck in the 50s, and that's exactly how it felt. So we hated it, and every year we would, feel like, oh babe, this is our year. We're going to move this year. We're going to move this year. We'll get everything together, and it would just fall through. We'd be so depressed and so down and out. And finally last year we moved. It was amazing. And we look back and we see that the city and that struggle that God put us in at that time was preparing us for what we're now in. It prepared us mentally. We're stronger. We know how to deal with certain things a little bit better. It prepared us financially because we know how to hold on to our money a little bit better. We were struggling in that city because I had looked for places, before we left. We were living in Louisiana before, but before we left from there, I looked for places, and I didn't realize that your girl found places in one of the most expensive parts of Nacogdoches. So our apartment was expensive, and the cost of living isn't that bad, but the wages, the way that you get paid there, is awful. So we were living up here, but our money was like down here. So, once we moved here, we kind of knew how to budget better. We knew how to save, a little bit more. So that was great. And it also grew us together as a team. So it's made us very effective. Like, my husband and I, man, we're like a well-oiled machine. I don't really have to ask him to do much because he already pretty much knows what to do. He doesn't have to ask me to do too much because I already know what to do. I know his expectations. He knows my expectations. So it grew us so much together as a couple. So for that, we are forever grateful. And for that, we are forever blessed. Another example of obstacles growing you would be my college present to myself. So I graduated college in May and I found out I was pregnant in July. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. It wasn't on purpose. It was something that just, it happened. You know, my husband and I, we definitely were not trying to have kids, but, you know, hey, it happens. At that time, it was so stressful. I mean, just trying to get your life in order, fresh out of school, dealing with so many student loans and so many hardships and just different things that you're going through, trying to grow up, trying to, you know, develop yourself and become that strong adult. And then also having to prepare to be a mother and a father to a child when low-key you kind of a child yourself. You know, it was rough. You know, it was hard on me. I never regret it. I never learned how to despise it. I actually accepted it with open arms. And I now know to this day that my baby was exactly what I needed when I needed her. It was an obstacle at that time. It was hard. It was hard to adjust to being a mother and not just being a mother, just being an effective mother, like being there for her fully, mentally, spiritually, financially, you know, doing the things that I needed to do, making sure that all of that was intact and still take care of me. It was a lot. And to still make sure that I'm making the right moves with my career, you know, that was rough. It was a lot. But I learned that if I did not have her and if that situation didn't occur, I don't know where I would be right now. She was the push that I needed in order to be in the position that I'm in life right now. And I'm forever grateful for that. I wrote here something that reminded me, something that I thought of whenever I listened to Joel Osteen's sermon. I wrote, stand your ground and know God will get you through. And that goes for every obstacle, including coronavirus. Like, we have to be hopeful. I'm telling you guys right now, life is nothing if you don't have faith in God and if you don't have hope. If you allow those two things to die and dwindle in your life, I'm telling you, you will not live a successful life. People think that success has everything to do about money. In my household, success is all about the mental, it's all about the spiritual, it's all about the physical and the financial. Spiritually, I'm always like, you know what? Start your day with God. If He woke you up, start your day off with Him and let Him therefore order your steps throughout the whole day. And I promise you, when I do that, no matter how bad my day is, I'm still able to see that He worked through every aspect of my day. Mentally, I am not in that same spot that I used to be in. That depressive spiral, that negative mind frame. I remember talking to one of my homegirls one day, like years ago, and her being like, Sashay, I don't even realize you. Like, you don't even sound like yourself. Like, that's how bad it was getting, that people couldn't even recognize me anymore. Not physically, that too, but even mentally. The things that were coming out of my mouth, the way that I thought about things, that I talked about things, it was totally different. Like, I didn't have faith and I didn't have hope. I didn't think that things were going to improve or get better. Like, I felt like, what is going on with my life? Like, what, I've done all of this work to get here and nothing is coming out of it. Like, I've gotten nowhere. But over the years, I've been able to grow that much needed relationship with God, and I've been able to have hope and faith no matter what situation I was put in. And I'm grateful for that. The next thing that I wrote here in my notebook was, God wants us to stop functioning in fear. I am a nurse, and I lost my job when coronavirus was declared a pandemic. God built me up through obstacles to be strong and depend on Him, so I did not function in fear. So We just got a little closer. So you guys get to find out that I am a nurse. I stated in my first video that we would grow and learn things about each other, and that's one of them. So I am a nurse. I have been a nurse for 6 years now, and I have here recently, since about November, been working in same-day surgery centers. And in March, once the coronavirus was declared a pandemic, these same-day surgery centers were shut down. It then put me out of work. I was unemployed. I was unemployed for 6 weeks. I was home, like I told you before, every day teaching my daughter because, of course, school was closed and canceled. So that was pretty much my lifestyle. However, I didn't know that because of the relationship that I have grown with God and how close that I've gotten to Him, and the way that I've allowed Him to order my steps is I really don't move until He tells me to move. So before November, I was a travel nurse, and my assignment was coming towards the end. Typically, I'm really smart about my assignments. Like about 4 to 6 weeks before an assignment is coming to an end, I'm already like putting in works the next assignment. So it hit that 6-week mark, and I'm like, man, I just don't hear God telling me that I need to go and do another assignment. Like, I think He wants me to go home and kind of work from there for a little while. So I did. So in November, I decided to do just that. And I also decided that I was going to fast from social media. And that was actually very refreshing. I took 5 months off straight from social media. At first, of course it was kind of hard. I missed it. But for the most part, it just allowed me to have more space, time, and opportunity to fill myself up with God even more. So over those 5 months, of course I went through things, but the biggest thing that I went through was not having that stability of work. I didn't know when I was going to work. I went into what you call PRN nursing, or per diem nursing, and which is pretty much the same thing as PRN. It's just you work as needed. And I worked for an agency, and basically the agency would post jobs, and whenever they posted, that was their needs, and you could pick up kind of however you wanted. However, all of these different people are also looking for needs and for jobs as well, so some of the jobs will go pretty quickly. Well, I never knew when I was going to work, and I never knew where I was going to work. So literally every week I would pray and I would ask God, like, God, I need, the money, how our finances are, I have bills to pay. Please provide me with work next week. And I kid you not, I wouldn't have to ask anybody. I wouldn't have to go to the boss and be like, hey, do you guys have any needs for next week? I wouldn't have to do any of that. Literally, jobs would just keep coming. And I was booking week after week after week after week. And what it did was it allowed me to become so dependent on God, and it allowed me to know that He was my true provider. So it solidified our relationship even deeper. So when the pandemic hit and I became unemployed, I didn't panic because I was already prepared for this. It's just crazy. Like, He really stepped out in front of me and prepared me for what was happening in my future. And so, of course, it was scary at first, just a little, just like not knowing, okay, wow, like, I don't know how much, money I'm going to be bringing in. How am I going to pay bills? Things of that sort. But I was like, man, if He did it before, man, He'll do it again. Like, if He did it then, all of those weeks, from November to March, man, He's got you. And, He did. He came through in a strong way. And we're okay. We made it. Like, I just returned back to work 2 weeks ago. And, Chile.
The ghetto.
It's been something else, honey. But I'm working, you know, and I'm trying to keep that in mind. I'm employed, I'm working, I'm necessary, you know, things of that sort. So it's cool, but you know, for the most part, it was like, you know, I'm so happy that we made it through. Last I wrote, I want to have that Bella Todd faith. What will happen if we actually make it through this? Like, whenever Pastor Michael Todd talked about his daughter and like how she was like, Daddy, what flavor are you gonna get? And I'm just like, wow, like, so amazing. Like, stop questioning, like, when are we going to get through this? Stop questioning, like, how are we going to get through this? Stop questioning, like, where are we going to be when we get through this? Like, are we going to have money? Are we going to have this? Are we going to have that? Like, start declaring where you're going to be when we get through this. Not how, but when we get through this. Because with God, we will get through this one way or the other. We have to stand with each other. We have to motivate each other. We have to uplift one another. And most importantly, we have to pray for one another. If you got it to give, man, give it. I gave so much being unemployed. It was beyond me how much I really did being unemployed. Like, there's no words that I can put together to explain how much I really did. At first, was it scary to give? Of course, because you don't know when your next is coming. But all I knew was God gave it to me. He blessed me with it. Let me bless somebody else. So be a blessing to other people. Don't penny pinch. Don't hold back. Don't do any of that. Bless other people. Let's get together. Let's stand together. Let's learn that too out of all of this. Let's be there for each other the way that he wanted us to. So the whole purpose of these two videos was to prepare you for the world that we're getting ready to walk out into here in June. Coming up in June. This is the world that we're getting ready to walk into. And I pray, friends, that all of us walk out changed, better, stronger, encouraged, empowered, and most importantly, stronger in Christ. So, thank y'all so much for watching my video. I'm going to give y'all my friendly reminder once again. Please like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Sign up for notifications. When you subscribe and you hit that little bell next to subscribing, that lets you know, boom, your girl got another video. It's ready. Go watch it. Like, go do that. And then also comment. Leave your comments, your thoughts, everything. If there's anything I can improve on, hey, I don't get offended. Let me know what you think. I'm here for it. With that being said, you guys make sure that you be blessed, keep off the stress, and stay inspired. All right, I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.